Hi everyone, let's go over my low time frame and micro bullish and bearish Elliott Wave scenarios on Bitcoin. Starting with my low time frame bearish scenario, where we are looking for a continuation to the downside in an impulsive structure for a wave C, as an ABC is a 5-3-5 wave move. Wave B is then finished after a sideways double combo with inside wave W an expanding flat. Wave X can be any corrective structure, and wave Y over here a nice zigzag, ending in the most common target area for a wave Y, where we also had some additional resistance, bearish CVD divergences at the highs, for then eventually a move to the downside, where now the invalidation of this scenario is if price breaks above this high at 30.2k. Now if we then zoom in to this structure over here and we go to the micro bearish scenario, then what we're looking for is either a 1112 or a diagonal. And at the moment I have a diagonal on my chart. However, I will talk about the 1112 in a second. So if we look at this diagonal, we are then looking for zigzags in a leading diagonal to the downside, where all of the waves are a simple zigzag. So we then have a 3-wave 1, 3 waves in 2, looking for 3 waves in a wave 3, where the most common target area for a wave 3 is between the 786 and the 886, pulled with the trend-based fib extension from the high to the low of 1 to the high of 2, which also is in confluence with my blue support area over here, which is very nice indeed, between 29k and 29.1k. After that wave 3, you then expect a bounce to the upside for then eventually a 3-wave 4, 3-wave 5, and then another move to the upside, and then a wave 1, 2, continuation to the downside in a wave 3. There is, however, a very big however, and that is the volume that this move to the downside might have, because if price is going to move to the downside over here in a lot of volume, and this blue support area does not give any support at all, so what you want to see is, a reactive traders, at least I'm a reactive trader, is I look for the reaction at the support area, and based on the reaction I decide what I will do. But if price is just falling towards the downside, there are no signs that this support area is going to hold, then potentially the move that we have to the downside right now is a 1112, where we then have a wave 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, right? And then you get a very big move towards the downside, and I love it that we got the dump during the video. As mentioned in my previous video as well, I was micro bearish, and there we go, price moving to the downside. You gotta love to see it after hitting the target box, by the way, that I mentioned as well in the video, that if price would move up, this was an important resistance area, the white box over here between 29.5, 29.6, where in a second I'll show you what I saw over here on the lower time frames when it happened. So price now moving to the downside. Let's see what happens around this target area. If price can find support and then an ABC, you want to see a bounce, right? If this fails, then we're going to be looking at this to be then a 1112 scenario. If we zoom out and we look at the more low time frame bullish scenario, we're looking for here a wave 1 followed by a wave 2, for then another 1, 2, and continuation in a bigger wave 3 towards the upside. So now we have a 1, 2, 1, 2, but the other way around, and we look for new highs to come. In this scenario, the most common target for wave 2 is between the 0.5 and the 0.786. As you can see, price is now right on top of the golden pocket, which usually is an important area indeed, and right below the golden pocket around the 786 area we have that support box, as mentioned before, around 29k. So this is an important level. At the moment though, a little bit of a reaction at the golden pocket, and you don't really like to see price going below the 786, as the 786 is the final common target for a wave 2, and the 886 is a rare target for a wave 2, a common target for a B or X, but you don't really like to see wave 2 going too deep below the 886. Besides, below this blue support box over here, I don't have much support left for then potentially a bigger move towards the downside. If we zoom into this structure over here and try to make sense of what could be bullish on the micro time frame, then over here I'm looking for a WXY, where we're then looking for a zigzag to the downside in a W. Then we have an X and another zigzag in a wave Y, which means that we have a WXY double zigzag to the downside. Now these are quite rare, and also what you prefer to see is this blue X being above the white trend line that you see moving towards the downside, because this is then an ABC. You pull a trend line from the high of A to the high of B, and most commonly and preferably wave X is going above the trend line over here, this trend line of the high of A to the high of B, for then a move to the downside in wave Y, for then a double zigzag structure. But as you can see, that is not the case, and now we might be moving to the downside. So we have to wait if price can find strength to go back up. However, in the end, we still expect move towards the downside for wave Y. Even if this is a WXY, you would expect price to move to the downside to take at least the lows, which it has just done. But an important support area also for this wave Y, for then the end of a 2 in the bullish scenario, is that move towards, or is this blue support box, for then a move towards the upside. If you look at the CVD divergences over here, bearish CVD divergences, lower high on price, higher high on the CVD. The bullish CVD divergences actually played out. This high got taken, therefore they have been played out, and that's very, very nice indeed. And then once price moved to the upside, the bearish CVD divergences here were left. However, on the 3-minute time frame over here, you could see more bearish CVD divergences coming into the chart, coming like visible on AGGR while price was hitting that resistance area. If I go to the 3-minute and I move to the price action that hit the target box over here, you can see lower high on price, but much higher highs on the yellow line, as well as here a little bit on the blue line as well. So we had some bearish CVD divergences while price was testing this target area over here, for then additional confluence in potentially then that move towards the downside. As now these bearish CVD divergences have played out, as price took these lows, they are neutralized, and we now have to wait and see what happens more locally. If we then finally look at the probabilities of the scenarios, well, as mentioned in the afternoon video at 1 p.m. Central East European time, I was looking for downside. We now got this move to the downside, and personally I would like to see this area hit, both in the W potential XY scenario, but also in a more bearish scenario where we are looking for either a diagonal to the downside or a potential 1112, where you would preferably like to see this area being hit. For me, this is an important area, as it is kind of like the final support area I have between then 29k and a potential drop all the way down to 27.4, 26.8k. So important area for price to hold. If this fails, we can expect much lower prices. But in general, at the moment, the probabilities from an Elliott Wave point of view are bearish. I hope this video was helpful or valuable to you. Please check out the most recent educational video I've made about the best trading indicator you can use in my opinion. And for now, thanks for watching and subscribing, and I'd like to see you at the next one. Bye-bye.